All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Live with RJM Fish Tales. So, tonight we have on our secret weapon that we're going to use this year for our tournament fishing for the Team Kayak Series fishing events uh, that Gene and Mike started. Sorry if I'm a little off tonight. I'm a little tired. Been running a lot, pretty ragged lately. And yeah, so I met this person on the job site a little while ago. We talked a little bit and we talked and we realized that he kayak fishes too. So that's cool. And then he brought up Westbrook Supply. So when he brought up Westbrook Supply, I knew that he was more of a serious kayak angler because if you bring Westbrook into you're just not that type of person that fishes like once a year. So I said that's cool. And we, exchanged some numbers and followed each other on social media. And then we met. We saw each other again at the Kayak Adventure Series, the series that Drew Gregory started, and he fished the event. I fished the event. We chit chatted a little bit, and then we kind of went on our ways. Went on our way again. Then we across each other at ICAST, and just quick conversation again. And then probably like a week or two later, I think it was like a week or two. I got a text from this person asking a question. Maybe he'll remember what it was. I forgot what the question was, and then this kind of turned into a longer conversation, and then it turned into a friendship, and then we started fishing with each other. And if you know me, I don't usually fish with people, so it actually turned into a pretty good scenario for me. It gave me somebody to fish with more frequently, besides just me going out with Heroes on the Water and all that stuff. So. This person has turned into a pretty good friend. It's probably one of my few friends that I actually have that I'm close with. It's basically turned into a lot of texting and talking. I think we text and talk more than I do with my wife. So at this point now, it's almost like a marriage, and I pretty much just yes this person to death because we just talk so much. No, any teasing. But yeah, we're gonna bring him on. But this is my secret weapon for this year, fishing the Team Kayak Series, and hopefully more down the line.
Hey man, what's going on?
So we got Tyler Bean. So most of you already know probably that Tyler was going to be my partner for this year, my secret weapon, because if you've been following my channel, not recently because I haven't really been on the water that much, but you notice I've been fishing with Tyler and it just turned into that we're going to become, tournament buddies. And I'm not sure who brought this up. I don't know if it was Tyler or me. I know the new series came up, but did I ask you or did you ask me? I forgot.
I think you talked about possibly doing it, and we ended up just deciding to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess because it's a new. I was actually going to hang up my tournament hat this year, and then this series came out, and I just, me and Tyler have been fishing. I was like, this is going to be a good time to do it. I might as well just try it again and see how we do this year. Because for the Team Kayak Series, you have to fish three events to qualify for the championship. And then when I had Gene and Mike on the other night, we were talking, and we were talking about the championship layout. And when we were talking, I kind of brought up not like an issue, but it kind of brought up I guess you could say an issue. We're trying to figure out with Gene how we are going to do how he was going to do the championship. So I was like, well, we need to. He wanted to cut the first 50% after I think day one. I think he said originally, and I says, well, how's that going to work? Because with the whole layout. So what they decided to do, and it's finalized now, is that it's going to be, I guess, Friday and Saturday we're going to fish, and then after day two they're going to cut the top 50%, and then on day three the top 50% will all start at zero. So that's going to make it super competitive, probably a little bit more stressful, but I think that's the way to do the championship. And I think after that, when I had those guys on, I think they figured it out, and I think that's a good way of doing it. Cutting it out. So, but we
Yeah.
have Tyler on here. I'll stop talking for now. Let's introduce Tyler. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you've been fishing?
Oh Lord, I've been fishing for a long time. I'm 40 years old, and fished as a kid, of course, and then I slowly picked up again, probably around college, right about 2003, four, in that area is whenever
Mm.
I first started kayak fishing. I bought me and my old roommate from college, Henry. We went to a Sam's Club and picked up two Johnson Outdoor. Was it Johnson Outdoors? The old towns, anyways, and they were
Mm.
sit inside kayaks, and we purchased those and took them out, fished the Withlacoochee River in Valdosta, Georgia, and a couple little farm ponds here and there. So started there and been in one since.
Oh, so you never actually were like owned a boat or ever on a boat? You just went straight into kayak fishing?
No, I had boats. Like when I was a kid, I used to fish with my grandfather and my dad. Of course, we used to go out to the. We lived around Kings Bay, and they had a bunch of ponds there, so we go rent John boats and whatnot and go out there and fish. And I bought my first like real boat when I was 15 years old. One of my neighbors did repairs, and I bought a little 17-foot Hydrosport and was able to fish out of that. And been around the water ever since, man. It's just it stuck with me. I know after 9/11, we were out fishing.
Hmm. Do you prefer freshwater or saltwater, being that you started on rivers?
Personally, I like fishing freshwater. To me, it feels more difficult. It seems like when I go saltwater fishing, if there's a saltwater fishing area, they're eating.
Yeah, that's
I've
true.
seen bass where you could throw at them and they won't hit it, and
Hmm.
constantly throw at them and they won't hit it. Now, I have had saltwater fish that wouldn't hit, but 9 times out of 10, you can usually find some way to get them to eat. Bass, I've seen where they sit there and just turn them, look at you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for sure. I mean, I went out the other day. I mean, you were talking, and I just spent 3 hours on a little local place by my house, and I mean, it's basically fishing in a fish bowl. And I think just because of all the snow we had and the extremely cold temperatures, my wife was talking about that. She's like, "Oh, the fish are probably just shocked; they're not used to this." And we actually just had on the news here that they were saying because of this cold weather that there's going to be a lot of spotted trout, or
The speckled trouts will probably
speckled
die.
trout. Yeah, they said that, and a lot of them started dying here locally in Charleston. Not a lot, but some did show up, and so they're not used to the cold. So my wife was probably right. I mean, even the bass and where I fish. And even in the whole area, Santa Cooper and Lake Murray, I mean, they were shocked from the cold weather. And, I was out there for 3 hours and didn't catch anything. But I know saltwater when I go out, normally I don't come home skunked,
Yeah.
and so I mean, if I probably spent enough time out there the other day, I probably would have caught fish or found something eventually. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Freshwater is harder. Uh, I'm still up in the air myself if I like freshwater or saltwater better. I don't know, man. This year I did a lot more saltwater than I normally have, and I do like it better. It's more enjoyable as far as the scenery and stuff, but I don't
Yeah.
know if, freshwater is my competitive side, and yes, it is more difficult. And
Yeah.
speaking of competitive side, I mean, what's your plans this year as far as tournaments? Do you plan on fishing as many as you can, or just kind
I'm
of
gonna
just
fish what I can. I mean, as you know, my schedule's kind of funny. I work like a 2 week on, 1 week off schedule,
hmm.
and the ones that I'm able to make, I'm going to make, and what I can't, it is what it is. Obviously, I'm gonna try and do the Team Kayak Series with you, and we'll
Hmm.
try and knock out as many as we can. I think of enough of those lined up where we can do all three, and
Yeah.
try and get that fourth one. I think, and should be good there. So
And what we
we'll do
should do
those.
too. Sorry, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
And what we should do too is I realize too with their rules, one thing we got to get lined up is maybe an alternate just in case something happens to one, we get one alternate we can use per team for the year for the series. So if there's a one event that you can't make or I can't make, I should be good, but I know with your work schedule, who knows what can happen, something could blow up or whatever. Well, me too, but we should
Yeah,
probably
you
try to
never
find
know.
an alternate to fish this year just so we have it and let them know because that has to be, approved by them or whatever, which won't be a problem. But
Right.
we'll have to get somebody who's good. Maybe I could call up Mike Iaconelli or something like that and see if he'll fish with us.
Yeah, get you a pro on there.
Hey, we're both from Jersey, boy. So
Yep.
if you guys don't know, Tyler Bean also has social media, just like the rest of us. And I'm going to bring this up now before I forget, because at my age, if I don't think about it and do it at the time I'm going to do it, I'll forget. But we're going to show Tyler Bean. So Tyler Bean 21 is his YouTube channel, his Instagram. What else you got?
I have a TikTok, but I don't post as much on TikTok. But yeah, there's a TikTok page with some stuff on there, and it's
Okay.
Tyler Bean.
I mean, Tyler's editing, if the little bit that you can grab, I mean, he's done some stuff for me that added to my videos as well, but Tyler's editing is really good. And,
Appreciate it.
I want Tyler to build up his YouTube channel and get to that point, and I'm sure that's his plan down the line. But, if you guys haven't subscribed to Tyler, just do Tyler Bean 21, go on YouTube, subscribe to his channel, and you can see the few videos that he does have out there, you can see the effort and how great they actually are with his drone footage and everything else. And he's been out there with the Westbrook team, and he's got a lot of cool videos on YouTube. I mean, when me and him went down the Flint River, that was the first time I've been on a river since I've been a kid, and first time I've ever been in a kayak. And when he did his video after mine, I mean, it was really good with all the all the footage and everything. I really enjoyed actually watching that. So, go check him
Good.
out on YouTube and follow him on Instagram and help him out. And just you'll see
Yeah.
his videos, even if you just watch a few of his shorts, they're really good. So once Tyler can, actually get some more time to invest into YouTube, I'm sure there'll be more content on there, and I think he'll actually like it probably better than mine.
Oh gosh.
But speaking of YouTube, I mean, speaking of that, I mean, do you have anything special planned this year? Do you plan on putting a little bit more effort into the channel? I know it's tough with work and regular life, but do you plan on trying to build it this year a little bit more?
So as far as building, I try and make content every time I go home. I try and do something. Um, there's not a, there's no telling where I'll be at that time.
Yeah,
My wife, luckily, she lets me do pretty much whatever I want. She cuts me free when I go home. She tells me it's my time. I need to spend it how I want. And I try and mix it up and have family time too. But there will be times where I just pick up and drive to Atlanta and we go launch on a river or go down to Flint. Go, you know how I am.
yeah,
I'm all over the place. So
you
I
are.
do a lot of traveling. I'll go fishing. We just got back from Delacroix in October, fishing over there. That was an awesome trip. Um, just you know, I just enjoy fishing. I like taking people from fishing, and sharing the adventure with them.
Hmm.
And just if I go on a trip and there's a camera rolling, 9 times out of 10, I very rarely go out and don't have any kind of footage. So you know, we'll go wherever we can when we can. There'll be a
Yeah.
line in the water.
Well, I know when you go out with me, you end up worrying more about filming others than yourself, and which is good for us, who go
Yeah,
out go out with you and have the drone footage and everything, and your take on it from a different angle. But you got to start concentrating on yourself a little bit there when you do these trips with everybody. And
yeah.
speaking of all the traveling, I mean, I talk to you all the time, and you say, "Oh, I've been over here. I'm going to go to Louisiana next week. I'm going to go over there." And I can't believe after all these years and being so close to where we live that you have not been to Lake Murray yet.
I haven't been to Murray. I
And
haven't
Santee
been
Cooper,
to
Santee
Santee
Cooper.
Cooper.
I
I
mean,
have.
it's my backyard, man.
Yeah, I mean, some of those I just haven't made it to, like Hartwell. I haven't been to Hartwell before.
Yeah, me
Clark's
neither.
Hill. I haven't done Clark's Hill.
I'm just going to show some of the comments. What's going on,
Oh yeah,
guys? Thanks for stopping in and seeing my secret weapon for the year. So, do you plan on? Obviously, it's all financially driven. But do you plan on taking a year off, you think, ever from work to really go into the tournament scene hard, or are you just gonna just go with the flow when you do it?
man. I just go with the flow. I
Yeah.
can't see me taking off a year of work. I just don't see that happen.
Unless we win the lottery, then we could all do it.
Yeah, yeah. If I hit the lottery, you'll catch me on the water every day. as
For sure.
long as it's wet, I'm gonna be there.
Well, I mean, between me and my wife, we are working towards the future, obviously, just like most of us are, as best as we can. And, I may have that availability one day in my life, as like a semi-retirement. I'd like to try to go do it. I mean, I don't know where the national, series are going to be, let's say in 10 years. They may not exist. I mean, it may just kind of die. Right now, we all know that the kayak market and the kayak scene is kind of down after the whole COVID thing. But, the ones who are doing it now have been doing it for a long time, and
Right.
there's still new people coming in all the time, but it's definitely not as big as it was. But I mean, I see people all the time. I mean, picking up kayaks and being on social media. There's still people signing up for it, and it's still pretty strong. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, I think there's still growth. I think we just hit like a big spurt right there at COVID. Everybody was able to
Yeah.
go out and you could social distance on the boat or kayak,
Hmm.
and you definitely saw a pickup of people on the water. But I mean, I we're not getting any less people on Earth. It's
No.
continually growing. So,
Yeah.
I expect plenty of people to go out there, and it's still more affordable than buying a boat. I mean, I
Yeah.
know the prices of things are going crazy, but you know, that's the way the market is.
Yeah. I mean, and you.
Everything else is.
Yeah, I mean, and you see these comments. I mean, like I just watched the video which I texted you about with the whole wiring harness that Chad just did with Gene and everything with this new a new company. I'll probably talk about it. I may
See
even
clear
have,
power.
yes, I may even try to get him on here too and talk about it. But I mean, Chad covered it very well today. But Gene's like, I got 21,000 invested into my kayak, and already people are commenting on Chad's videos. 21,000, you might as well just buy a boat. Listen, I actually replied to that guy's comment and said, listen, if we wanted to be in a boat, we would be in a boat. We don't
Yeah,
want to be in a boat. But I mean, if you look at it this way, yes, 20,000 is a lot for a plastic vessel. It's all the other accessories that go with it. You don't have to spend that. You can go spend $2,000 or less,
right.
and have a good fishing kayak and just get out there and enjoy it like most of us want to.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
Gene's got 21,000 because he has like, all these graphs and everything. But still, go price out a new bass boat today. To have something that we'd all really want, you're looking at least 70 to 100 plus thousand. I mean,
For sure.
people have $20,000 just in, electronics.
Oh yeah,
So it's still a cheaper way of fishing. You can still have all the electronics, but your base platform is a piece of plastic basically, but it's still fun. It's a different way to experience the water. For a lot of us out there, that's why I do Heroes on the Water and stuff, is it's a healing process for many people. It's the way for people to go on the water, because as soon as I'm on the water, whatever else is going on, now I get a text from my wife, it's out the door. I'm
out the
constant.
door.
I'm focusing on fishing. I want to be out there with you or whoever else, and just enjoy the day. Even if it's just for 4 hours. There's a lot of trips I do. A lot of my videos I do is maybe like only like 5 hours.
Right.
But it's enough time. I get my fix for the week, and I go on and make a video and share my experience. But it's still a lot cheaper than buying a boat. I've owned multiple boats, and my cheapest boat was 30 and my most expensive was 60, and I could have taken it to a higher level, but I
There's
didn't
no
need
point.
to. I'm very happy with kayak fishing after selling the last one. That's why I came back to it. It's just, it's a better way of being on the water, in my opinion. That's why we do it. If we didn't do this, we wouldn't be talking about this on the live stream. I wouldn't have a channel based on kayak fishing. I could go be on a boat if I wanted to be, but I don't want to be.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a boat. I have a Ranger still at the house, an aluminum bass boat, and I still use the kayak more than I use that. I mean,
So you
and even
hold,
Gene came from, he used to
yeah.
have the the other aluminum bass boat.
Yeah, someone had
Drawing a blank.
actually, I think his boat was his welded that he used, or was the
Yeah,
rivets
his
that
was
he.
welded.
Yeah, it was
His was
whoever
welded.
make that welded one. Then I think they stopped making the welded version of that boat. That's why he stopped using it,
Hmm.
I think is what he said or whatever. It's a long time ago we were
Yep.
talking about it. But yeah, I mean, we like being on the kayak.
Oh, for
And
sure.
speaking of kayaks, I mean, right now you pretty much have every model of the new canoe. You could be a new canoe spokesperson basically.
Yeah.
You have the
U10.
Unlimited,
Yeah,
U10
unlimited.
Limited. You got the Pursuit,
The
and you got
Pursuit
you got the
and a
Flint.
Flint. Yeah. The only one I'm missing is the Frontier.
You can keep that
And
one.
yeah, I don't. I had one. I did have one,
Yeah, I
but I
mean,
ended up getting rid of that.
even as a dealer, I wouldn't push it. I push people towards the Unlimited and the U10 and maybe the Flint.
Yeah,
Just for the rivers and stuff. But
for sure, for sure.
Heath,
They
now Heath, which I don't know if you know, Tyler. I don't think you. Wait, actually, you did meet Heath at one of that
at
time we were
the.
fishing. So
Hmm.
he's one of the guys that helps and volunteers at our local chapter. But Heath is definitely one of my other top buddies for sure.
Good friends.
So I know I get distracted. I'm like a squirrel. So with all the new canoes you have and all the other kayaks you've been in, do you plan on ever trying a different brand, or you think you're going to stick with New Canoe and that's it? Has it been your favorite kayak brand to date?
So the new canoes are good at a lot of things. So like, and I've got all three of the motors. I got a Torpedo 1103. I've got the NK 180 and an NK 300, and I got a motor guide.
Hmm.
And on all of my boats, I can put any of those motors, and I can swap them back and forth. Now I've acquired them over however many years of fishing, but they are available, and that's kind of nice because like on a windy day on the lake, you want to have the XI3 to sit there and hold you on a spot, or go fish the river, go hit the Flint. I could take the NK 180 and just ride down the river. Um, it's nice to be able to swap those out real quickly. And,
Hmm.
with the new canoe setups, with the tracks, the gear track and everything, you're able to swap and configure it however you want. Now, I did buy four of them, but I wanted to kind of get a feel of which one I liked the most. And also for buddy boats, it's nothing for me to call up somebody and say, "Hey, I'm coming. I'll have the two boats loaded up and we'll go." Or they can come visit me and we could go saltwater fishing down in, around the house. Recently there, what was that, November? I think we had a bunch of the guys from Westbrook come down,
Hmm.
and I had two guys in my boats, and I had three boats loaded, one in the truck, two on the trailer. We took off and saltwater fishing we went. So it's it's kind of a good thing. I'm lucky that I'm able to buy these.
Yeah.
And but I love sharing the experience too. Like you said, I enjoy filming everybody else having these moments of catching the redfish or flounder or whatever they end up catching, or
Hmm.
even a big bass whenever we go. So, you know, to me, it's all about that experience. I love the camaraderie of everything. Drew's series was great for that. I know I talked with Drew a little bit whenever he was coming up with the idea. I was like, man, it would be cool to just be like a big block party. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much, you went to Palooza. It was, they had the whole block closed, and then there was this theater right there. And we were able to all get together and, just spend the day doing whatever.
Hmm.
And to me, I enjoy that.
See, here's your northern people.
It's fluke.
It's fluke. It's not flounder. I'm always gonna call it a fluke myself too. It's hard for me. I already had people correct me. They're like, it's not a fluke. It's a flounder. See, up north, it was fluke when you were catching them, and when you actually ordered fish at the restaurant, you'd say, "Can I have flounder?" That's like the past tense of our fluke up there. That's already cooked and on our plate. So that's how we always done it.
When the game warden comes up to you, it's Southern Flounder.
Yeah. So you get
F-12.
F12.
That's a
That's
good boat. It's still
yeah.
a good boat. I liked it. It actually paddled surprisingly well
Mhm.
for the width of it. It was a really wide boat, but
So So
it
you
was
like the
good.
new canoe the best? That's been your top brand, you think, so far out of all the kayaks you've had? Because me personally, I like the new canoes just like you said because it's simple, it's easy to set up, it's easy to DIY yourself,
Mhm.
DIY yourself stuff, and be able to, like you said, swap the motors out. Like I'm right now, I'm testing the NK 180, and it's the same mount as my Torpedo. So it's a matter of putting the pin in and
Yeah,
putting a
you.
different battery on my kayak, and away I go, and a different throttle. I mean, it's so much easier. And
Yep.
if I, even with the bow mount, with everything mounted on the track, that's why I don't think I'll ever change. I thought about it when I saw the XTR. I'm like, do I want to go that mini bass boat looking setup? But like you said, like all these other kayaks, you're permanently pretty much set up on these. You have to, I don't care about drilling holes. To me, it's plastic. Drilling a hole in
Yeah,
a kayak doesn't bother me. I know a lot of other people it does, but it's just a plastic, so you can actually patch these. It's not that hard to do. But with New Canoe being on the track, it's real simple to change and just take everything off it and just go paddle it down a river
yep.
very easily. Even the fish finder, even the transducer mount, everything is so easy to take on and off this compared to other boats. And with the XTR and with Bonafide and even when I had the Hobie, it's pretty much a permanent setup, and you kind of stay that way. And if you do change, either you have to leave the other stuff on your boat, adding the weight, then add the new stuff, and you have to keep the old stuff on and to really keep either the holes plugged up or whatever. So that's why I like New Canoe. I don't think I'll ever change. I think if they ever go out of business, we're gonna actually have Blake on here soon. We're not going out of business, but if they ever went out of business, I think I'll just purchase like 10 of them, and I know it'd
Get
be
a
good.
handful of
I'll just get 10 unlimiteds, and I know it'd be good forever. But
them.
I don't think I would ever change now that something really drastically came out, stole the idea of the tracks from New Canoe basically. Because to me, when I saw the XTR, I felt like As soon as I saw that seat at ICAST, I'm like, yeah, they got that idea from somebody, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think all of our seats should be mounted on the track just for that simple fact that you can move forward and back.
Right.
You can adjust for people's height. I think a lot of these kayaks have formed seats and they're kind of locked in place. Like the Hobie, it was
Yeah.
locked in place. You could adjust the lumbar and everything, but you couldn't slide it forward. So if you're a shorter person, even though you could adjust the fins, which kind of made up for it, but I like
Yeah.
the ability to move stuff around, and I think it's a better setup. But is it so? Back to where we were. So is New Canoe your favorite, and you think you're going to stick with that?
So far, yeah, I've enjoyed it a great deal. I mean, I've had other boats that are better at certain things, but overall, what I can do with these boats, I mean, you saw me going down the Flint River in the Unlimited, and we
Hmm.
paddled. My motor messed up that day, and I paddled shoot half the trip back, and
Hmm.
it wasn't terrible. I was able to do it. I wasn't tired at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's just the adaptability. Now, like the U10, I've paddled that recently, and that's like a sleeper boat. I'm trying to find the category where I'm gonna not dismiss all the other boats and just stick with the U10. I like that little U10.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
seats on the new canoe, I love the swivel seat. I love the
Oh
way
yeah.
that the Millennium seat is actually comfortable. And
Hmm.
I've had other boats where you get in, it's just not as comfortable as that one. You don't feel like you're enclosed in a little space. You got plenty of deck out in front of you. I could carry all the gear I want, even though I don't carry a lot of gear. But well, I do. Sometimes I do. Like whenever I do the other trips and do the filming and stuff, like you said, I'll carry two cameras, a drone, and batteries and batteries and batteries and all that stuff. And then I still got room for a cooler and fishing gear and however many fishing poles I want to bring.
Yeah. I mean, when I went with you, that overnight trip on the Flint, you took my tent. You took
Yeah.
everything was on your boat. You had all the cameras, you had the drones, you had the motor, you had everything on your boat, including basically my camping gear. And I mean, and you were just going down the river like it's nothing. I mean, you're more experienced than I am, but I mean, you made it look easy, but you had all that stuff on your kayak, and like
Yep.
you said, you actually had to paddle it. So it tells
Yeah.
me that it's a good kayak. I mean, people say that the new canoes are soft plastic. I mean, I don't see that. I mean, I stand up on mine. I could feel a little bit of the deck flex, which is not a big deal. It's very minimal. But I
Yeah.
don't take care of mine. I'm not saying I don't take care of it, but I bang into everything when I come into the ramps instead of going sideways. I just go nose in. It scratches it and drags it up, but I know it's going
Yep.
to take so long to wear through that nose. When I first got my Hobie, I was doing keel guards and I was worrying about protecting it and, this and that. Now, I just, because I guess I've been doing kayaking so long that you realize that it ain't going to ruin it.
Yeah.
So adding all those keel guards, I mean, the keel guard can actually make the way your boat responds
It
and reacts.
turns.
It can throw it off a lot. That's why I don't even care for them. So,
Yeah.
what other brands did you have? You had like
So
you
I
said you had
had
the Johnson
the
Outdoor, right? Which are,
Johnson Outdoors, which was just a throwaway. That was a $200. We
yeah.
found them at Sam's Club and bought them real quick. No big deal. Following that, I think I had a Future Beach, which was another cheaper one. They had it at West Marine, and then I saved up my money and got a Ride 115 from Wilderness Systems.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Ride 115, I moved up to a Pro Angler. And then following the Pro Angler, I got two attacks. I got an Attack 140 and an Attack 120, which both of those were really nice boats. I enjoyed those a great deal. And then following the Wildy, I went to a Bonafide SS 127.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Bonafide, I believe I bought the Frontier, the new canoe, and filled it up with water like three times inside not inside the hole, but the deck of it.
Yeah.
Um, it got out there in the waterway and got some rough water, and seemed like that year every time I went fishing, it was like a 2 foot chop, and I was just taking water all the time. I was like, all right, someone else needs this boat more than me. And then I went to Crescent for a little while, and the Crescent brand, I've been pushing that for a good little while. Which Crescent builds some tough boats. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
Their
they're designed to
boats,
be rivers. They got to be
they're
tough.
built pretty tough for rivers, and they paddle really well. There's nothing I can say wrong about them. It's a good affordable boat, and it's designed purpose to be paddled, and it paddles very well. The Shoalie came out. I got two Shoalies whenever they came out, and Drew did a great job designing that along with James. And from them, I just wanted something a little bigger, you know, ease of mind, stability wise, carrying all this camera gear around. I was like, man, I really just want something where I'm not even thinking about it. And, you've seen me going down the river, standing up, going down rapids and stuff. It's just the new canoe, it's like a careless stability that's there. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it.
So you
So
you pretty much test. So basically, you've tested almost
I've been around
every.
the world.
Yeah, you tested almost every kayak. So before we move on from the whole kayak thing, because I have some fishing questions for you. Why did you leave from the pro angler? And as people said to me, why did you? Well, it's everybody's opinion's different, but why did you downgrade from the pro angler?
So the big thing I didn't like about the pro angler is going in rivers.
Mm,
You have to have a wide turn radius with that boat.
you
Like you
do.
would paddle, I would start paddling or pedaling, and then you
Hmm.
kick the rudder one way to get the bow to swing out, and then I would kick it hard to get it to flip all the way around. And I
Hmm.
mean, it was a 14-foot boat. It's not small, so I mean, it's not really ideal for rivers. And I've spent a great deal of time. I live near the Satilla River down in South Georgia, and it's. I mean, there's spots in that river I could turn the boat around, and be touching the bank on both sides.
Yeah.
So it was something. It was great at the time because I was doing a lot of saltwater stuff. But as I slowly kind of worked more into the freshwater fishing rivers and traveling and carrying it, and it's 110 pounds, and I mean it's a great boat. It was comfortable. It was stable too. I mean, you know how they were.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problems with it. I think I had it for probably 3 years. I sold it right during COVID. Um, I had a Torpedo on it. It was the Evolve, the cassette drive that went down where your fins went, and I would just
Hmm.
throw the fins up in the front in case the battery died or whatever. And I mean, it was just I I have no problem paddling the boats. I enjoy the paddling. They say it's exercise. I don't feel like it even. I feel anything whenever I paddle a bunch.
Yeah. So really, you left the pro angler because of just you were fishing more rivers.
I was fishing everything, and I wanted something more. At the time, I was only holding myself to one kayak. I didn't want to have a bunch of them laying around the
Hmm.
house. That I've changed since then. So
Well, shoot, you sold it during COVID. You probably got what you paid for it after three
I did.
years.
Well,
Yeah.
I did a crazy deal. So I threw the Torpedo, two batteries, a fish finder, the Hobie itself, and I forget what else I threw in there, but I gave it away for like $2,500. I just
Okay.
wanted to get it. I don't try and profit from any of my boats that I sell. Like I'll give one away $500-$600 just to get somebody else in a boat to try and get them on the water.
So anybody
And
watching tonight, you want a cheap boat, reach out to Tyler.
yeah, at some point I might have one for sale. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I've sold. That was the only kayak I've probably resold over $1,000.
Okay.
And like I said, I had a 127, the two attacks, um, whatever.
So I'm more intrigued about the kayaks. I know I got to move on, but so you had the Bonafide S127, which is
Yep,
a pretty durable, stable boat as well.
yep.
Why did you leave that to go to, let's say, not even skipping the other ones, but let's between Bonafide and New Canoe, just because the New Canoe has more of the open deck for your gear? Is that what was it more
That was
based
more
on?
or less what I was trying to do there was go for the open deck and a little
Yeah.
more customization. Um, the Bonafide was nice. I enjoyed the Bonafide. It was it had a comfortable seat. Um, Trying to remember how long I had that boat. I had it for a good while. It was the first one I put the 1103 on, and I was able to run the 1103 and the XI3 at the same time on that. That was the first one that had the XI3 too.
Yeah.
So I had the Tiki special edition color, kind of a coastal theme thing.
Hmm.
So got that from Hook One whenever they were in business,
Okay.
and I don't remember exactly why I changed out of that boat, but I mean, it was just trying different boats, just seeing how
Okay.
it was.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. At least you know what you go through it all, then you kind of know what each boat can do. And if you ever wanted that one to go back to is like a specialty boat for something, special, basically, you know that you could
Right.
get that model and use it for whatever. So I'm using you for your fishing skills this year. and we're gonna kick some ass. So
Plan on it.
when you go to new body of water, like you're gonna be coming up here the Murray with me, and unfortunately we were gonna do a little practice, but it didn't work out because of weather. Because it's
Right.
Tyler. Tyler brings the bad weather everywhere he goes. It was blowing like
It's
20 miles per
snowing.
hour. Yeah. So how do you approach a new body of water? What do you look for? As let's start with freshwater. When you go to freshwater, what are you looking for when you approach a new body of water?
So just depending on the time of year, um, obviously you're going to look at kind of where the fish set up. Um, Temperature wise, what the water temps are. You're going to look for whatever key features you're trying to associate those fish with. Big thing I've learned over the years fishing with all the big names that I fish with, like Drew Gregory and Craig Dye and those guys, fish fast.
Hmm.
When you get on the water, you cover water and find the fish, and then you know where you can go. And Drew's taught so many people that you can go to different places and just look at the water, just pulling up to the ramp and looking at the water. You can tell if it's something you like or not.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, over time, I've learned little things from him and others that I pick up on those things. You see life moving around, you see bait moving. You know, there's your sign.
Yeah.
Pick up there, start fishing, and you'll find fish.
Absolutely. I mean, it's good that you been around Drew and you've been around Craig and stuff, and you've actually
Oh
fished with quite
yes,
a few, we could say bigger names in the kayak fishing community. To me, kayak or a boat, you're a fisherman. So, I mean, you put Drew on a bass boat with a trolling motor, that guy's just going to have full speed running down the bank. I mean, so it don't make a difference if we're fishing out of kayaks. We're still all anglers. So we are still, you had the advantage of, fishing with Drew Moore and Craig. So you do pick up from these guys who are good at this. I mean, look at Drew just won. I had him on.
oh yeah,
He showed us the footage. He could say, you see where the water was a little bit dirtier, a little bit more stained water. And that's what I would go for too, especially with all that clear water. I'm not the most silent person on the water. I'm not saying I'm loud, but I mean, I would probably go for that stained water too as well because just to give myself a little bit of camouflage,
yeah,
as a person on the
for
water. I
sure.
mean, I don't think I've ever been in water that clear. I think Flint was probably the clearest I've been in. And if I went out to where Drew fished, I would be lost. I mean, I would be like, look, but he said he drove up and down that bank. I mean, that day he practiced, he 13 miles, he saw very, very little fish.
Yeah,
But he still went back there and he still won it, which is pretty damn good.
yeah. He's an excellent fisherman.
Yeah. Well, he said he
I've
wants to start
noticed.
doing some classes soon, so I might have to watch some of his classes.
Yeah, he used to do a couple of them here and there. I remember some of the ones he did. He used to teach some stuff, and he did some pay for stuff for a little while too,
Yeah.
dropping some real secrets.
Yeah.
But anytime you get to fish with somebody like that, you definitely need to. I mean, you're going to get beat. You'll
Hmm.
feel it. I know I followed around behind Drew out at Susquehanna a couple years ago, and it's incredible to watch the guy go, and it just torpedo hammer down cast and just going. Even Russ Snyder's that dude fishes fast.
Yeah. So you think that's your style too, right? You're more of a power fisherman, right? Over
I I
finesse.
do, but I've also tried to hold myself to learn other things. Like I will carry a spinning rod. I hate doing it, but I'll carry a spinning rod with a shaky head or an eco rig, and that will put fish in the boat. I will find
Hmm.
them. I fished Pickwick a couple years ago, and it was brutal in like October, November, and the only thing I can get them to hit was like a little Nico rig, and
Yeah.
it got me into the money. So
Hmm.
I can't complain,
And
But the I will throw top water. I have an addiction to top water.
you do.
you, you
It
know
does
that.
make for good footage.
Oh my god, I love it. Me and a buzz bait, we're gonna be
Yeah.
burning something up.
Well, that's what you gave me when we were on the Flint, and I started catching. Towards the second day there, I wasn't doing too hot, and you gave me a buzz bait because I didn't have any with me, and I started catching fish, so that was fun.
Yeah, I held off the first day. I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah. But yeah, both of us. I mean, the kayak adventure series. I think you were gonna go right to the one for the Susky, and I was gonna go, but I didn't want to leave my family behind.
And the hurricane came through.
Yeah, the hurricane came through, and then they were up there. I mean, the guys still, fished and stuff, but yeah, I'm glad we didn't go. But being this year with the Team Kayak Series, them going back to the Susquehanna, and we're both should be going to that. That's going to be a good event,
Oh,
and
that.
it won't be as good as it was. Let me rephrase that. It's still going to be good, but where Drew had it, it was my hometown, so it was actually going to mean a little bit more special to me. But unfortunately, I couldn't get up there. But I mean, that's where my mother lives.
Yeah.
So I really just need to do a trip, go visit my mother for about a half an hour because that's pretty much all I can do with her sometimes. And if she does watch this on Facebook, she's like, I raised you. But go visit her, and then I just need to go fish the Susquehanna myself up there, in the Towanda area, because I spent some time there as a kid. I was there till about 10 years old, and there's a couple of ramps I was going to fish when I was going for the Kayak Adventure Series. So I had my places I know to go. My uncle always used to go have another ramp, so they used to fish every day after work. So I know where to go in that area.
Yeah.
So I just need to go spend some time up there myself and spend a little bit more time because really the Susquehanna is not like your normal river. You do have your rapids, but there's a lot of areas it's just wide open. It's not, if you haven't been on a river before, it's not like unsafe. It's almost like fishing in a slow moving lake. There is fast moving parts, and there's
It
still
could get
fast.
nasty.
It can be, especially if it rains. But
Yeah.
everywhere, most of the time I go up there in the summertime, the water's low. It's not moving fast, but it's still a blast to fish. It's still fun to fish. So
Oh
now,
gosh, that trip was the most fun I've had fishing in a long time. Whenever we
mhm,
went up to the Susky, I mean, I probably caught 200 smallmouth in a week. It was
mhm.
ridiculous on top water. So
Well, the West
I'm
Branch
looking.
has more. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the West Branch, when I drive through there, because I know where it is, it's a lot more bigger boulders sticking out of the water and stuff there, and there's a lot more moving water in the West Branch than there is in the North Branch, for sure.
Okay.
For like the West, like when you drive through there, I was just, went up there just recently, uh, and you could just see, these big boulders just sticking up everywhere, and you could see all the fast moving water, and you could see where you'd actually have to get out and drag, especially when it's low. So it's a lot more different. So it's going to be a little bit more of a different experience for me on the Susquehanna fishing that area for sure. I'm just going to rely on
Yeah.
you. You're going to have to save me.
No, you'll pick it up, man. It's what was it? We fished it. I was in like 30th place, and I had like 90 inches. It's
Oh, wow.
ridiculous. It
Yeah.
was ridiculous, but it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. It's a long drive, but I think it's
Yeah.
definitely worth it. It's a fun trip for the year.
I always do it in the middle of the night, so I bang it out in about 12 and a half
Yeah.
hours from here because I don't like dealing with people on the road. So, as far as saltwater, because you do quite a bit of saltwater too, what do you look for, if you're approaching a new part or a new body of water for saltwater, what do you look for?
Saltwater, looking for kind of the same things. I look for a lot more oysters, but I like having a depth, closer deep water nearby. So, like if I could find an oyster mound that's in, 2, 3 feet of water and there's 7 foot of water nearby, I'll definitely fish it.
Hmm.
And eventually, you kind of, like I said, you kind of pick up on it over time. You'll notice different areas where the fish like to be,
Hmm.
and there's places I can go today and there's a redfish sitting there. I know there is. We just looked at them, the other day we went out there and we were like, yeah, there's redfish here. And we flew the drone over the top of them and we are able to see them. And I was like, see, told you they're there. They're
Yeah.
always there.
So,
But it's just learning that trying to figure out those areas where they're going to set up. You got to find bait, of course. If there's no bait around, the fish aren't going to be there. They have no reason to be there. They're just looking to feed. And if you're wanting to catch them, you definitely have to have the bait there.
yeah.
So
Have you
I
been using
definitely,
have you been
what's
using
that?
have you been using the drone to actually spot for you for fishing?
No, I don't look for fish. The only thing we've used the drone for that was to try and catch some topwater bites, just to
Okay.
to try that.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
fly the drone over the reds and find some over to the side. I know where they're at, so we just flew the drone over to where they were,
Hmm.
and then cast a lure underneath the drone and try to get the footage. And but I think me and my buddy Chris did it one time, and we had a big one, like a 32 inch red, come up and just completely missed it. I was like, dang. But it was I haven't really used it for spotting. So much of the area I live in is you can't fly drones in. So we live right off near the Cumberland Island, and it's a national park. So no drones are allowed to fly around the national parks.
Oh,
And
really?
that
I didn't
extends,
know that.
yeah, we're not allowed to fly all the way out to about the waterway. and
Huh.
I don't ever fish the other side of the waterway. So,
Yeah, yeah. So as far, so you I know when you all the times you've been out with me quite a bit, you do like top water. So is top water your favorite bait to use? Let's say freshwater, is it buzz bait? And then do you like, like a walk in the dog style or whatever for saltwater? Or do you have
yep.
something else that's your favorite bait?
So most of the time with saltwater specifically, I carry two rods,
Hmm.
and one of them is going to have a skitter walk, a redfish colored skitter walk on it, or a spook, and it'll be the one knocker spooks. Um,
Okay.
I use a couple different colors. I don't color really doesn't bother me too much, but the for the skitter walk, I definitely throw that redfish. It's like a bone color on the bottom and then red on top.
Hmm.
But that's going to be on one of the rods, and on the other one's going to be a jig. And I change it up. I usually throw like a belly weighted swim bait hook with like a 3.5 inch or 4 inch grub on it. I like those because you can actually get down in the oysters and it doesn't hang up as bad. Um, I feel like saltwater fishing, when I'm catching the fish, I'm actually working the bait slow enough that it's touching those oysters and not hanging up. So
Hmm.
you want to move it just fast enough that it's going over the top of them, but you want it to nick them as it goes across. And I've had the best success with just running those two baits. I use the top water kind of to find out where the fish are, where they're at in the column. If they're out deeper or in shallower, and it's usually just a steady retrieve, just walk the dog,
Hmm.
find the fish, and sometimes there's days you'll go and throw top water and it'll just continue right on all day. We
Yeah.
love those days, but there's days where 9 o'clock you're putting top water up and you're throwing grubs and keeping it 3 foot off the oysters and just work it slow, keep it off of them.
Yeah. I mean, the day we went out into Wando, I mean, we started out that morning really with nothing. And then we switched sides, fished more towards the docks. You were doing top water catching, and I was either in front of you or behind you doing my. I don't think I was running a tickler today. I think I was actually running the diesel minnow. I think, and I
Yeah.
think I also had a fluke on too, if I wasn't mistaken. And so
Yep.
I was, doing the soft plastics, and you were doing the top water, and we were both catching. So it worked out great.
Yep.
So as far as your rods and reels, is it like your kayaks? Do you just keep constantly changing until you
Yeah.
just try them all, or do you have a favorite brand of rod? Do you have a favorite brand of reel?
Here recently, I've stuck with my Daiwa rods, or not Daiwa rods, Daiwa reels and St. Croix rods
Hmm.
is what I usually like. I got a handful of St. Croix rods. I got the Mojo Bass series. I don't know how many of them I got, but there's one of every flavor in there. But usually when I go out freshwater fishing, I bring like a medium and a medium heavy, and
Hmm.
depending on if I'm throwing big swim baits, I'll bring a heavy, and then I'll have the one spinning rod. So usually I'm like four rods, but they'll be usually I got the St. Croix, and as far as reels, I like my Daiwas in freshwater, and in saltwater I've mixed it up over the years just because it's usually I take my old reels and convert them to saltwater.
Okay, that's a smart way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean the salt water is just so taxing on everything. You have to
Hmm.
constantly clean it, and I just sometimes it gets neglected. I wash them off whenever I get home, but it does good to take them all apart and actually clean the whole reel
Yeah,
and change the bearings out and all that good stuff.
I know. I think I see you cringe when you see me use my baits reel in the salt water. So
Yeah,
hey, I have OCD, and I have that to the point where everything has to kind of match. So when I start, using a brand, I try to get all the reels to match. I mean, yes, I do use Cast King too as well,
yeah.
but I enjoy the hundo so much. It's hard for me to put that reel down. And
I
uh,
recently got one.
yeah, and I think that I told yeah, the last time I was at Santa Cooper was the last time I really fished. And that's going to be changing here, guys. So don't worry. I told you guys that there's going to be a lot of videos coming out, a lot of fishing videos coming up. I know I've been doing a lot of reviews and truck stuff and, stuff like that. My trailer video is coming out this week because I'm setting that up for camping this year as well. Yes, I did change again. You got to watch that video, and there's going to be multiple videos on that trailer because you'll see. Just watch the video. But I like to keep the same thing. But I did talk last time I was on Santa Cooper. I lost that first fish of the morning because the drag on the hundo wasn't acting right. And that's the second time I've had a problem with their reels. The first time I think of a bearing, and I was one of the newer people that had their reels too. So I guess you could say I was one of the guinea pigs. And just like any other new company, they're going to have some issues and they're going to see what works, what doesn't work, what breaks. But the thing is, they take care of it. So, I
Yeah.
broke a reel, they gave me a new one. I think that was a bearing issue. This last time I sent it out, and it's actually, I'm getting it back this Friday. Uh, there was nothing wrong with it.
Oh, really?
And I have not had any issues with any of my reels recently with this issue. The braided line was slipping, and
Oh, on
I
the spool.
on the spool, and I never had that issue. And they asked me, "Do you use backing? Electrical tape?" I used to do that when I first started using braid. I says, "No, I haven't used backing on my reels in the longest time because normally I tie a knot, put it through the hole, and get it to lock. And on the baits, I just put it in the hole and just let it
Started
spin
walking.
around a little bit. And I haven't had that issue ever. And they said, "Well, when were you fishing?" I was like, "Yeah, I was in 30-degree weather." They said that the metal on it must have shrunk, and my braid was spinning. So I guess from on now, I'm gonna have to start putting the backing back on, so I don't think my reel's broken. But I haven't had that
Yeah.
issue in probably 7, 8 years. So that's the first time it's happened. But I guess it was just cold enough that the metal just compressed a little bit and it just started slipping. So that's coming back to me. But while they had it, they did service it. They didn't charge me anything for my own stupidity, and they're sending it back to me this Friday. So that's good. Now,
Yeah.
as far as braid, but hey, if you guys can afford it, I would definitely look into baits. I mean, they're a newer company. They've been out quite a bit now. I think they've been out for maybe 3, 4 years, I
Yeah. They're probably
think.
starting on third year,
Yeah,
somewhere
so I
around there.
mean, but they are definitely worth it. They got the salty hundo now. If they came out with those before I bought the hundos, I would have bought those right off the bat, just because they're ceramic bearings. But if you can't afford it, you really got to try a hundo from Bates because it is the most comfortable reel in your
It is
hand.
comfortable.
You can. I appreciate that guy, Texas Phantom, new here, but just sub. That's awesome. Uh, but they are the most comfortable reel that I've ever had out of all the reels I've had. And when I first got out of the box, and I talked about this in videos, I thought like, oh my God, I made a mistake. That thing looks like this,
So
and
tiny. It does
so
look tiny.
tiny. And I'm like, holy shit, I made a mistake. And I put it on the rod, and I was like, no, I didn't make a mistake. This thing is super comfortable and I can't put it down. That's why I use it for fresh and salt. I do use the other, my Cast King. I got what I'm looking at them now. I got one, two, three. I got 6 Cast King reels that I use too as well. But that hundo is in my hand most of the time. If you look at my videos, it's in my hand. But if you can afford it, you definitely got to get one of those guys and give it a shot. I do also have the Goat 150. I think Tyler's going to take one of my goats because I don't. He does more. He's more of a swim bait guy. That is my swim bait setup. The Goat 150 with a TFO rod. Uh, but he's going to take one of those for me. But that reel it's like it's built like a brick. I mean, that thing is
It
like I
is.
could squeeze it, and it just, it's definitely a good larger bait fishing reel for sure. But if you guys can afford it, you guys got to go check out Baits. You
Yeah.
won't regret it. Even if you can just buy one and that's all you use, and maybe a spinning rod, I would make it work. It's definitely worth it. But as far as braid, are you just whatever is cheapest, what's on sale, or do you like a particular kind of braid?
So I bought one of those giant spools of Power Pro, and I've had that for a while now, and it's just 40-pound test Power Pro, and I put that on everything.
Hmm.
Now
So
my
you see
spinning
that?
rod, I do have lighter weight braid on. I got like 15, 20-pound uh
Okay.
Seagar, I think is what I got. A Seagar Smackdown is what I got on that
Hmm.
one. And then I tie a FG knot and about 6 foot of fluorocarbon on it.
Okay.
So
So that tells you how you fish. I mean, you're running 40 pounds on everything. You must be
everything.
throwing some big baits and you're ready to horse those fish in. Me, I run 20 pound on everything, and I use 20 pound all the time. I just change up my leader to different pounds. But
Yep.
20 pound is on all of my reels, whether it's fresh or salt. Even when I'm bringing in the big 30, 40-inch reds, I still have to bring them in on 20 pound braid. But I use Beyond
Yep.
Braid. Been using Beyond Braid now for about 5 years. Uh, I'm not affiliated with them. I saw them. I think I was on Amazon, and I saw this. I saw Beyond
Yeah.
Braid when they started selling on Amazon. And I'm like, I looked them up on their website and see they're out of Florida, even though it's probably not made in Florida. And I think it's nothing is. made in America that much anymore. And I says, oh, let me give them a shot. So I get, brought in. I was like, okay, this is fun. And I started out with their 4 strand. Now I use all their 8 strand, and it is a lot smoother. It's quieter in
Smooth.
the, it's smoother. It's quieter in the guides and everything. So I've been using them, but I get 2,000 yards of that for like 100, anywhere from like 90. Sometimes you can get on sale to like, I think 110 max. So I like the high vis. I'm probably do some shorts on IG. I'm actually kind of giving it away, but I use the high vis because I use a fluorocarbon leader. I like to be able to see my line go across the water, especially when I'm doing like the tickler or any soft plastics. I can see that line moves. Being I'm getting older now, I actually got bifocals. I actually had to get bifocals
Oh
recently.
gosh.
So I'm at that age where I'm actually wearing bifocals now, which is scary. I'm turning into my parents, but I need to be able to see that line. I just ordered some Bahama blue, which it's hanging up top there, but I got some blue. I wanted to get some blue, and since I'm going to respool that Bates reel coming back after I put some electrical tape on the back, uh,
Back
I
it
got
up.
some Bahama blue. So I mean, I'll be running the orange, the blue. They have black. I thought about running some black this year, but I've been using all the high vis, and their black recently. Their black color has been sold out. It's hard to get. I could probably find some on Amazon,
Huh.
but and probably from the thing. But their black though is very cool looking on your reel. But I mean, I don't care what color it is. I like the high vis. It makes the reels kind of look cool too. But I just use the high vis
Yeah.
as long as I have a fluorocarbon leader. I don't care. And then, when you're power fishing, they don't care. You know,
Nah.
Look at your Alabama rigs. It's nothing but wire. They
Yeah.
come after it. So,
Man, it's crazy. Now I do in freshwater. I will like Lake Lanier and stuff like that. I'll throw fluorocarbon. I do have
mhm.
17 pound on some of those diowas. I usually carry a handful of reels, and I'll carry two extras, and one will have braid and one will have fluorocarbon in case I need to swap it up. So
And I
you
know
just never know.
fluorocarbon and all that stuff and monofilament is better for crankbaits and stuff like that to get the baits down better and at the real depth that they should be running at. But I just been running
Yep.
braid for the past. Maybe that's why I'm not
Now,
catching as much, but I just run braid all the time. I can't go
oh,
back to fluorocarbon. It's hard for me.
yeah, on crankbaits it's mono. I learned a long time ago from old Craig to keep the mono on there. 12 or 15. That's what we're throwing.
But if I
Square
use
bills.
yeah, but I use a soft enough rod though that I still have the give and I'm not yanking it out of their mouths.
Yeah.
I never ever lose a fish on a crankbait with braid. And when a lot of my crankbaits I'm running at 2 to 5 depth, it runs. I'm hitting the bottom,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does. It does. It's
but maybe
just,
I should do some mono. I don't know.
it's cheap. That's what's nice about it. You can
Yeah,
pay $5, $10 for a spool and not have to spend freaking $30 or $40 on braid.
true. I could just keep it real just with mono on it, or whatever, or fluorocarbon just for crankbaits, and that's just for that, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my one bougie rod I have is the a Legends,
Oh,
the
okay.
St. Croix Legend glass, just for crankbaits. But we don't have a lot of places to throw crankbaits at the house, so that doesn't come out much.
Yeah.
But at Murray, it will be there. I'll have
Yeah,
it.
Murray, you got to bring the. I just
I'll have
actually
some.
just placed the order for Fish USA because we get the KBF discount there. I just got a whole bunch more Fire Tiger lipless because I just looked at my stuff the other day and I only had like 4 left,
Uh
maybe 3 left. So I just placed a whole basically my order coming from Fish USA looks orange. Crankbaits, lipless. I got some ticklers in orange. I got a bunch of stuff in orange because it's just that time of year to be thrown at there at Murray. And I'll still have
yeah.
my other, black and blues and green pumpkins too, but I got a lot of red and orange coming.
Nice.
So, where is you might have done it already, but where's your bucket list place to fish? Is there anything on that you've seen or heard of, or like I really want to go there, maybe overseas? Is there any place that you'd want to go fish that you
I
haven't been
really
yet?
want to. I really want to try and go up north and catch some of those bigger smallmouth, just those huge footballs. Like the
Hmm.
river fish are cool. I caught some. I haven't got a 20-inch smallmouth yet, so that's one thing I want to do. But like Mille Lacs or something like that, going up there, going up to Cayuga Lake or one of those other ones up there, and catching one of those giant smallmouth that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
But I mean, I fished a bunch of other places. I'd like to go to Lake Fork one day.
hmm
I haven't been over there yet. I've been to Caddo. That's the farthest west I've gone
hmm
and fished over there. But over there and then up to Susky. and that's where I've reached out to.
Yeah,
Done Kentucky Lake and kind of that whole radius there. So, but bucket list, I'd like to go up north and catch one of those giant smallmouth. I think that'd be a pretty cool experience.
yeah. I mean, I was in Jersey, and I could have went to Cuyahoga Lake so easy. I just never did. I just kind of never left Jersey. I mean, I'm pretty much fished up and down the East Coast. And this year, if we go to Kentucky Lake, which is, I'm sure we'll make it work, but I've never been there. So you never been to Murray, you never been to Santee, and that's my backyard. I've never
Yep,
been to Kentucky, and I haven't fished
Susky.
Susquehanna since I've been a kid. I'm saying it like JT Susquehanna River, uh, since I've been a kid. So this year is going to be a couple new experiences for me, which will be good.
Yeah, and I mean that's the fun part of it. You
Hmm.
got a new experience. It's not going to cost you a ton to go up there either.
No, and the Flint was the first time I've ever fished. That was with you, and we camped, so that was pretty inexpensive.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
that's a fun trip. Anybody that hadn't done that, definitely.
yeah.
Those shoal bass they're mean.
Yeah, it was cool. Definitely cool when we were there that night before, and I just standing in a foot of water and catching them. That
Yep.
was definitely
Yep.
cool.
Find your rock, pull up on it, and cast.
Yep. So, last question, and then we'll see if anybody else has anything in the chat. But like I've been asking everybody, if you've been listening, if you could fish it, anybody, past or present, who would it be?
I'd like to fish with my grandfather again. Now that I'm more experienced as a fisherman,
Hmm.
um, my dad's dad he passed away when I was younger, and never. He used to get me up early in the morning. We'd go out the house. We'd go by the grocery store, grab a pack of Pop Tarts, and we'd be on the water before anybody else in the house woke up. We'd come back. They lived down in Port Charlotte, Florida, so we go red fishing, catch stuff out there in the harbor, and come back, go catch crabs with the chicken necks right off the bridge. Any kind of little stuff like that. Just I'd like to go out again, if I had the opportunity to. But
Yeah.
I think that'd be a pretty neat experience, just knowing what I know now and
Hmm.
actually understanding what we're doing. Not
Yeah. Absolutely.
going out there, here, bait this hook, throw it over.
Hmm.
So that'd be
It
pretty neat.
sounds good. So, anything else you want to add, Tyler?
Nah, I'm looking forward to these lakes this year. Like I said, I haven't fished much stuff in South Carolina. Surprisingly, the company I work for is in South Carolina, and other than saltwater, I haven't really done anything up there. It's kind of crazy.
Well, I
Kind
took
of
you
just
out.
skip
You
over.
went fishing in that little lake by my house, and you did
Yeah,
pretty well.
yeah. Oh no, it was great. I had a good time over there.
You
So
outfished me, so that's why you're my secret weapon. So you guys got to follow along this year. Right now, Team Kayak Series has just their Facebook page up, but I mean, basically everything's gonna be on Tourney X. So if you guys just go, I think our first event is Lake Murray. It's March 1st and 2nd, right? It's the first weekend
yep,
of
first
March.
first weekend of March.
So last time I looked, I think I saw like 5 or 6 teams signed up. They say kayak anglers are like the last person to sign up, but I know that Gene and Mike have
Yep.
it set 1 week before. That's it. Registration closed. So you have about 3 weeks, I think, roughly, to sign up for that event. So hopefully we get a lot of people signed up. It's a new series. It's a team series, and that's how they're going to keep it. And I think it's great, even though Drew has the team series, but that's addition to like your individuals
Yeah.
fishing for the kayak adventure series. But Drew, not Drew. See, I'm getting confused. Mike and Gene is just strictly team, so it's going to be fun. But he wants to keep it competitive. If you saw that episode with those guys on, the championships can be very competitive. After the first 2 days, 50% are cut, and then everybody starts out at zero. So it's like
Yep.
one day of fishing. So you make that cut. You got basically 2 days of your practice, and then that last day you have to. Kick some ass to really win, and it's going to be tough, and I think
Yeah.
it's going to be cool though at the same time. So, just follow along over at the at Tourney X. So that first event, they should be. I don't know if Mike and Gene are going to stream anything and keep any live standings up. By then, they should probably have their website rolling, so maybe they'll have it there. But you guys can just go over to Tourney X and just check, that day, and you'll see that that event's running, and you can see where the leaderboard is. One thing we didn't ask them when they were on. I don't know if they're going to turn the leaderboard off or they're going to leave it on. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. Some people want it on, some people want it off. They usually turn it off for the suspense, but like Chad was just recently saying, leaving that leaderboard on gives everybody to have their eyes on the fish the whole way through so they can pick up, somebody that's not even fishing could pick up something that one of the judges missed. So,
Cuts out the
ah,
sandbaggers.
yeah. And I know a lot of people hate that too. So I'm actually hoping they actually keep the leaderboard on the whole time. This way, when we're done fishing, we'll know where we're at the end of the day. And then
Yeah.
there's no like, suspense to go back to the award ceremony. So we'll see where it is, but you guys can follow along over there. First weekend of March, me and Tyler will be on Lake Murray, and hopefully we do good. And one thing I didn't bring up, if you know, I didn't put, don't keep my last name on there, but if you know, my last name is Rice, and Tyler is Bean. So it was a very simple way to go with rice and bean as our name. It's like basically everybody's favorite dish anyway.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to keep Tyler's last name as Bean. I thought about rice and beans, but I wasn't changing my last name, so I was like, you know what, we'll leave Tyler's name the way
Bean.
it is. I wasn't going to add the S on there, but our team name is Rice and Bean. So you can just see that and just follow along. We'll also be at Kentucky Lake, and we'll also be at the Susquehanna one. And who knows? See how Lake Murray goes. Maybe we'll be at Gunnersville too. We'll see if we can get
Yeah.
Tyler off some PTO time. We'll see how we do on the first event, and we'll see where it goes. Oh, what else are you fishing this year?
I think I'm gonna do. There's two Bassmaster events I'm gonna try and get, and following that, I got to see. I'd like to make some of the kayak adventure series stuff, just because, like I said,
Hmm.
it's a good time. Drew's got a great experience with all the clips and the theaters, and it's just a
Yeah,
good time hanging out with those guys and everybody. It's kind
yeah,
of a relaxed fishing tournament. You're not, it doesn't. You got 2 days to go catch what, 5 fish? Is it
hmm,
5 fish?
yes,
Yeah, they do 5 fish. So you got an evening trip and a morning trip, and then you still have Sunday to travel. So
yeah.
it's a pretty neat little format he's got going. I like it's kind of an introductory tournament, but you still win some stuff. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
GoPro's doing a grab bag for them this
Yeah,
year. It's
no, you
kind
can
of
definitely
kind
get
of
the
neat. So
kayaks, money, prizes. I mean, he's got electric motorcycles and he's talking about campers and
everything
stuff
in
for
the
like the
world.
champions. Yeah, so I mean, you can definitely win some big prizes doing that stuff. I mean, if you were going to go down for the Florida trip, if you had off, I would definitely go that one just because
Yeah.
I'm tired of the cold already. Then I'll be complaining it's too hot, but uh, it's trying to jam a lot in right now, but
Yeah.
we'll see. But I know I'm going to do all the Team Kayak Series. I don't think I'm going to do anything else this year. Now we end up doing something together or traveling together somewhere, or you go and maybe it'll convince me to go. But that's it because I wasn't going to do any tournament fishing this year. But that's it, guys.
Yeah.
Follow along, see if we can do good this year, and we're definitely going to fish the three events so we can qualify for the championship and see where we can end up there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more people signing up. I know Gene was talking about. Uh, Maybe Christine Fisher may show up at the Susky one. I heard Russ may be fishing, killing me. Uh, and some other names, bigger names in the kayak community, they were talking about signing up for these events too. So I think they're going to be. It's supposed to be a fun event, but I think it's going to turn into more of a competitive series, which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
We're all competitive by nature, and the more people that sign up, the more money that we can possibly win. So it does help. So if
yeah,
you guys are
for
thinking
sure.
about it, grab a teammate and it's especially
It's
in
a
the
low
main.
entry fee too,
Yeah,
and
it's a
it's
hundred.
like
It's a hundred
10
bucks.
fish.
Yeah, you get 10 fish over the
Any
2 days. Your best 10 fish. So it's actually can't say it's easy. It's still going to be hard
10.
because you're fishing against a lot of competitive people. But it's an easy
Right.
way to get into kayak fishing and possibly win. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
you just win with just luck. You're just in the right spot, and you just find a school of fish, and you just get 10 quick big fish, and you just all of a sudden you're the leader. And you turn over and
Yep.
like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm going to win this, huh?
And two
So
guys over 2 days. I mean,
yeah.
your odds are pretty good.
Well, I figure this
Just
time,
got.
this time you're just gonna fish, catch them all. I'm gonna film you. I'm just gonna hang out.
We're going to try for sure.
Yeah. So,
Definitely going to be trying.
all right,
So,
guys. I appreciate everybody who stopped by tonight. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate anybody who watches us later on. And let's see. Thanks, Heath. We'll have to get
yeah,
you out of
thank
some
you.
of those too.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, we'll be. I have to see what the schedule is. I don't know if I don't think they released the schedule yet for this year. I'm sure they'll have it put together soon for the Heroes on the Water for our local chapter here. But I'll be at those, and I'll be filming that along the way too. But thanks everybody for stopping by and watching. Whoever watches this later and follow along with us, see how we do this year in the Team Kayak Series. And I appreciate Tyler coming on, and he's our secret
Yeah,
weapon for
thank
this year. And
you.
Well, you'll be seeing a lot more of us fishing together anyway. So,
Yep.
as always,
Yep.
guys, be safe on the water, and we'll catch you in the water. See you guys soon. And this Thursday, I have the trailer video coming out showing you how I'm setting up for camping, and I'm also going to be doing that too. I'm in the middle of, possibly moving, buying a new house, building a new house, basically. So hopefully it works out that we can get out camping soon. But I may have to pack, and I might have to push camping out a little bit more farther this year. But we'll see how it all goes. But we have camping on here this too, and you'll see how easy the setup was with an enclosed trailer and still being primitive, but have everything that I need to go with me and still be comfortable. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna stop talking and let you guys go on about your night, and we'll catch you guys soon. Thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate it, man.